Hello, this is Danny Raymond, the voice behind Ray's Guide, and now that 3.15 has gone live, it is time to go over the essentials, particularly for those who haven't been following the game carefully, and of course, all the occasional players who will be revisiting the game during the free fly event and will need to be brought up to speed on what's new and how to use it. 3.15 is a huge build, and spent a long time both in the limited PTU and in the open PTU, but there are still a lot of people who are waiting until live before giving the new version their attention, plus all those IAE Expo free fly visitors. In either case, if you want just the essentials on what is different in 3.15 and how to use it, this is the video for that. In short, 3.15 is the bomb, but more on that later. 1. There is a wipe, but not as harshly as we expected. CIG has given everybody $20K starting money in this release, but also a $100K bonus if you participated in the most recent Xenothreat mission. This tells me that the wipe this time is more to do with the core technology change of the inventory system than with a desire to get day one economic data. 2. There is a new concept called the Home City. You pick it at your first game session, and that is where all your beginning gear, all your beginning ships, and your beginning regeneration point are. More on regeneration later. If you have a regular game group, it is wise to coordinate on all of you choosing the same one. Number 3, the inventory system is accessed with the I key and can only be described as hardcore. Everything has a maximum capacity and distinct storage volume. Your hab in each individual landing zone, your each individual armor set, each separate backpack, each separate ship. Things put inside of other things, put inside of still other things, will stay there with a remarkable persistence. There is no magical global storage that follows you around wherever you are. The only limited concession to global inventory is that your inventory in your hab at your landing zone is shared with your inventory in your hab at the orbital station above it. But other than that, if you want to get some of your inventory from your hab in one place to your hab in another, you are going to need to move it yourself. Which brings up the Knickknacks app in the Moby class, which appears where the inventory manager used to be. This has the ability through a tree view to see exactly where all your stuff is across the verse. So you will need to spend a lot of time managing where stuff is, but once you master it, there's a lot of cool things you can do, particularly with backpacks preloaded with what you want for a particular type of mission, able to be stored in your ship for that mission. Number 4, the inventory system is also the core of the loot system. I see the loot system as consisting of two parts: loot boxes and victim looting. I divide them only because the one has generated a lot of praise and the other a lot of heat, but they frankly are the same otherwise. The first thing you can do with a loot box is open it and stuff selected items into your suit or backpack. But because the inventory is hardcore, you can only hold so much. Or you can pick up and carry the whole box back to your ship, but that leaves you vulnerable. Victim looting works similarly, but has generated more than little friction. But because the inventory is hardcore, a lot of the looting is less hardcore than it sounds. So sure, I can take one of your armor pieces, but it won't fit in my backpack, so my only choices are to drop it on the ground as a box or wear it instead of my current armor, which I would then have to drop on the ground as a box. The same thing goes for most weapons and such. Now, you could just drag the whole body back to your ship and loot it right there into your cargo hold, but if you're going to do that in PvP, note that anybody who takes a revival mission for or is in a party with the incapacitated player gets a marker to where that body is, and you've just moved that marker right into your ship. So ask yourself, what could possibly go wrong with that? Did I mention we have bombs now? More on that later. Number 5, medical. Let's divide the new medical system into two parts, non-fatal and fatal. For right now, non-fatal medicine applies mostly to FPS situations, since until physicalized ship damage is a thing, the ship combat is still ship hits zeros hit points, goes boom, proceed directly to the fatal medical gameplay. But on foot, damage is much more detailed now. Injury, as has been the game's path for a long time, occurs to a specific area: head, each arm, torso, and each leg. And it is important to separate injury with injury effects. So, for example, a Tier 3, higher number is less severe, just go with it, leg injury might be a sprained knee. A Tier 2 leg injury might be a partial fracture, and a Tier 1 leg injury might be a full fracture. Now, the injury effect of a Tier 3 injury might be to walk but not run and with a limp. Tier 2, the partial fracture, would be to walk slowly and with great difficulty. And the Tier 1 full fracture, to not be able to stand at all but only crawl. Now, drugs can reduce the injury effect, but not the injury. For example, a powerful painkiller might allow you to walk steadily with a partial fracture or run on a sprain, but they do not heal the fracture or sprain itself. Eventually, the drug will wear off, and giving too many drugs will cause its own problem with intoxication and possibly an overdose death. Fortunately, there is a detox drug to reduce the blood drug level. In addition to these individual area injuries, there is a general health indicator, treated with the drug Hemozal, that indicates whether you are active or incapacitated. All of these drugs are available in single-use syringes, as with the med pens of prior releases, but also with an attachment to the multi-tool that dispenses Hemozal and a dedicated CureLife medical tool, also known as the med gun. The med gun dispenses Hemozal in basic mode, but there is an advanced mode that lets you dispense precise doses of all 5 drugs. In addition, the advanced mode has an auto function that calculates exactly what those doses should be. The med gun was first presented as the professional medical tool, but the presence of the advanced mode and auto button automatically makes it the most effective no-brainer tool to give to just anybody as standard equipment in case treating a companion unexpectedly becomes necessary. Actual injury repair, as you may have already guessed, requires a med bed. A Tier 3 med bed, say on a Cutlass Red, can fix that sprain. A Tier 2 bed on a Carrick or 890 or Space Station Clinic or Grim Hex can heal the partial fracture, and a Tier 1 hospital, in this release only at Orison and New Babbage, can fix the full fracture. Now, between the non-fatal medical gameplay and the fatal medical gameplay is the limbo of the incapacitated state. If your general health goes to 0, irrespective of actual injuries, you collapse and everything goes gray. A death timer appears and your available actions are severely limited. You can chat with your friends and arrange a rescue. You can activate a medical rescue beacon with a standard award of 15,000 Alpha UEC. Or you can just say, to heck with it, and skip the time and go straight to the fatal medical system. The fatal medical system is based on something called regeneration, which is sort of, but not exactly like cloning. Let's call it mysterious alien technology and leave it at that. Unlike the old respawn system, your regen point only changes when you specifically tell it to. It does not change simply because you stop at a station, and that is a good thing, because you do not want to have your regen point to be somewhere where you don't have any gear at. And the reason for that is, you wake up wearing only a medical gown. Everything you were wearing or carrying when you died, it's still back there, possibly being looted at that very moment. Remember I said the new inventory system was hardcore. So the lesson is to have spare equipment ready at your regen point and to be careful about taking too much valuable stuff into dangerous places. Number 6, trading is back. Yes, you are still competing with everybody else for supply and demand of commodities. That's life. But the numbers have been adjusted so that life should be a lot easier to make a living at. But the real news for traders is 30K crashed. Recover. Specifically, the server regularly saves the state of ships, including their cargo contents. If a server crashes, there was already a system for client disconnects. Then wait, as it may take up to 10 minutes to detect and recover, but you should then be able to retrieve the ship from the ship console, contents intact. Do not claim the ship. Wait to see if it will change on its own to retrieve. Set a timer if you need to be patient, but do not claim. Now, there are exceptions and imperfections. So, for example, if your client becomes unresponsive and your ship crashes into a mountain, the game still really believes that you crashed your ship into a mountain. But the worst of 30Ks is gone. Happy days. 7. Better FPS bunker missions. There is now more variety in bunker missions, with some requiring you to assist forces already there against attackers, and no friendly fire, you know. Some requiring you to clear the squatters, and other combinations. These use new spawn closet tech, which will make more opponents appear over time. Number 8. Oh yes, I said we were going to talk about bombs, didn't I? The Hercules A2 is in the game and drops bombs with, as best as anybody has measured, have a 1 kilometer kill radius. Let that sink in for a second while I play that animation again. But it is not as easy as it sounds. For one thing, just like a size 9 torpedo, ground forces can see, target, and possibly destroy these bombs. So you can't just drop them from tens of thousands of meters up. On the other hand, 1 kilometer kill zones include you too. So if you drop them closer, you'd better well burn hard to get out of there and pray you make it, or the first casualty of your bombing run will be you. Just as ships with missiles have missile operator mode, ships with bombs have bomber operator mode, which is accessed the same way. The way I like to describe it is that the bomber operator mode has both targeted and non-targeted operations. Non-targeted operations are good for targets of opportunity with hover and dive bombing. You will see a white circle on the ground which will show where your ship is heading to, and a red circle showing where your bomb will hit the ground if you released it right now. Just center the red circle on your target and release. For targeted mode, you have to put the white circle on the ground where you want to hit and then target with T. That sets up a helmet display that will show you a small point to line up with for your bombing run, and then a larger dotted circle that will, along with an audible cue, tell you exactly when to release. Targeted mode is definitely the more detailed system, but it requires first aiming the ship at the target and then coming around to set up the bombing run. Number 9. Ships. Normally, a release so heavy in core game systems would be light on new ships, but this release has the brand new 400 and the Crusader A2 bombers, and already in the 3.15.1 patch adding the Crusader Ares Starfighter, Ion, and Inferno, plus the long-awaited Aegis Redeemer, plus whatever straight-to-flyable ships the November ship sale might have in store for us. There are, of course, more little things I could talk about, but those are the essential things, and just the essential things was what I promised. And the final essential thing is the Grow the Channel Ship giveaway. As of recording, we are at 35% of the subscriber goal and 6% of the member goal to give away the shipping ship for shipping your ships. 1 entry per video. Members are entered automatically, but otherwise just be a subscriber and comment with the secret word. And the secret word for this video is what I described as the inventory system as being. Fly safe, keep it real, and I'll see you in the verse. This is Daniel Raymond for Ray's Guide.